Field musicians signal changes in large troop movements during battle. In addition, they use their instruments to regulate the duty day, signaling to the soldiers when to rise, when to eat, when the duty day ends, and when to retire for the evening. This same tradition is heard in the daily bugle calls sounded across military installations today. The soldiers of the Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps wear uniforms patterned after the musicians of General George Washington's Continental Army. In order to be easily identified, military musicians of the period wore the reverse colors of the regiment to which they were assigned. In 1781, infantry soldiers of the 3rd Regiment wore blue regimental coats with red facings. Thus, the musicians of the time wore red regimental coats with blue facings. Traditionally, the most skilled drummer was given the title of drum major and chosen to lead the musicians. The drum major who stands before you this morning wears the customary marks of the drum major, the baldric holding 2 drumsticks. He also wears the light infantry cap, the red waist sash, and issues silent commands with the S-Spontoon, an 18th century weapon. Listen now as the Corps features the fife, bugle, and drum, bringing to life the sights and sounds of our country's musical heritage. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps. On behalf of the Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps, it's been our pleasure performing for you this morning. Thank you and have a great 4th of July.
And cynical attacks on political adversaries as unpatriotic. They were common to earlier war times. Can we learn how to avoid them?
No.
Oh, you don't sound very persuaded. The answer is I sincerely hope so, but we remain on the evidence to date, poised between hope and despair. Lincoln said it best, as with most issues then and now. Abraham Lincoln said it best. In an 1861 speech in Philadelphia's Independence Hall, made at the Union's moment of gravest jeopardy, Lincoln reminded his fellow citizens of the essential quality that bound together past and future in our American Republic. I have often inquired of myself, Lincoln mused, what great principle or idea it was that kept the United States so long together. After he rejected the notion that to break with England alone, separateness in the act of revolution was sufficient for this purpose, Lincoln concluded that it was, quote, that sentiment in the Declaration of Independence which gave liberty not alone to the people of this country, but hope to all the world for all future time. It was that which gave promise that in due time the weights would be lifted from the shoulders of all men and women and that all would have an equal chance. This is the sentiment embodied in the Declaration of Independence, And as Lincoln concluded, I would rather be assassinated on this spot than surrender. One can only hope that the United States will retain these values and produce the same strong, principled loyalty of its citizens today as they did more than 2 centuries ago. My country, right or wrong, the 19th century immigrant political leader Carl Schurz observed, quickly qualifying his point for greater clarity. My country, right or wrong, when she is right, support her. When she is wrong, correct her. Of us seeking an immediate infusion of the spirit of the Declaration of Independence, I conclude and commend to you a story that President Eisenhower told of a stranger to Washington who hired a taxi to see the city. When passing the National Archives building, this very building, he saw the sign stating simply, "What is past is prologue. What is past is prologue." The tourist asked the cab driver what that expression meant, and the driver replied, "Oh, mister, that's simply a polite way of saying, you ain't seen nothing yet." Well, here we are again. I want to wish everyone a happy Independence Day 2008, a happy 4th of July, a special happy and safe day to our veterans and our soldiers, sailors. I don't think they heard you. Let's hear it again. Is this a great country or what? Happy 4th of July. The work continues. Thank you very much.
Liberty and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light or transient causes, and accordingly all experience has shown
Rhode Island, Stephen Hopkins, and William Ellery. Connecticut, Roger Sherman, Samuel Huntington, William Williams, and Oliver Wolcott. Georgia, Button Gwinnett, Lyman Hall, and George Walton. Maryland, Samuel Chase, William Baker, Thomas Doane, Charles Carroll of Carrollton, Virginia, George Wythe, Richard Henry Lee, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Harrison, Thomas Nelson Jr., Francis Lightfoot Lee,